everybody. Today we're talking about one of the highest priorities for IT leaders recovering from the pandemic and entering 2022. And that is frontline content security and enablement. We're going to talk about why 55% of IT leaders have already listed this into their highest strategic priorities for the next 12 months. Why traditional content systems like SharePoint, Box, and Workspace ONE content are not effective for communication with your frontline teams. We're going to talk about one of the key reasons why 33% of employees are suffering from anxiety and other mental health conditions, and why business leadership is looking to IT to solve that. And we're going to talk about how Starbucks addressed this and more by implementing a single source of truth for their 275,000 employees across 23,000 mobile devices in only 3 weeks. We'll cover all of this and more in our session on enabling and securing a single source of truth for your deskless workforce. I'm Paul Bradley. I lead our strategic customer efforts at Playerlink, and I'm excited to be talking about this important issue with you today. Here's a brief introduction to our mobile content management platform.
Information. It takes a lot of it to run a successful organization. But critical information gets posted, emailed, printed, then gets promptly buried by junk mail and burrito wrappers. Don't let burrito wrappers sink your business. Let me introduce you to Playerlink. It's like the angel on your shoulder that gets the right content to the right people in the right place. How? Just drag and drop content into the folders you designate, whether it's one piece of content or thousands. And like magic, the people who need it get it on their devices automatically. Oh, and information's never out of date. Pull off the old stuff and push out the new just as easily. Content is automatically synced when you want, even while the device is sleeping. Productivity while you sleep? Welcome to the future, my friends. Whatever your workspace looks like, you need mobile content management. What sort of content? Let's talk about the biggest. Videos. We love them, but we hate buffering. And we all know how IT feels about this content.
Dude, you're killing the network.
That's just the thing. Playerlink compresses and securely delivers videos without losing quality. That means there's no buffering and everything's available offline. That's a turkey, Carl. We'll keep working on that. You can make checklists, interactive training materials, management reports, and any other content you need to keep your team current and consistent. Oh, and collaboration. Let's say Ben in Cleveland needs help from Sophie in Portland. They can capture, share videos, and use cool tools like the Telestrator to make sure they get it right. She's telling him Parmesan and truffle oil makes the fries taste perfect. She is so right. Managers can check to make sure their teams reviewed the new content. Oh, looks like Dave hasn't seen it yet. I'll remind him. Thanks, Dave. It doesn't matter if your company specializes in fries, footballs, field services, or sales. If you've got content, Playerlink delivers it. Don't take my word for it. You've never even met me. Just ask Playerlink customers. You've heard of them. Playerlink, keep your team in sync. It's a game changer. Oh, nailed it.
Mobile content management is an emerging category of technology that you've likely heard of in discussions surrounding the world of Apple Enterprise Management or endpoint management in general. As an MCM, Playerlink is focused on enabling IT organizations to automate, secure, and control the distribution of corporate information and communication to frontline employees. We do this in a way that allows business admins throughout your organization to manage their own respective frontline communication needs. And we specialize in the automated movement of data to and from mobile devices, ensuring the digital resources your frontline teams need are locally available anytime, anywhere, at the mobile edge, and always under your control. Our platform is used every day by millions of employees around the world and by organizations of all sizes, like Starbucks, Chipotle, Southern Company Gas, and FedEx. We're proud when our customers say things like, Playerlink has become like our company's central nervous system that provides a direct line of communication to our frontline, bridging the communications gap between corporate and field staff. Or Playerlink's ability to help us mobilize information for our teams, or that our teams need at the front line, has given our brand the ability to scale so fast that we've become the fastest growing restaurant brand in history. We're proud of our longtime partnership with Apple and excited about our new partnership with Jamf. Starting today, we are offering Apple and Jamf customers exclusive access to Playerlink for free. This includes our entire mobile content management platform and features on unlimited devices for unlimited users and for an unlimited amount of time for up to 2 gigabytes of managed content. To try it out, contact us and our customer success team will be in touch with you to schedule time to give you access, work with you to set up your security, network utilization policies, and then help take on the work of teaching your operational teams how to start using it immediately. This is a limited time opportunity, so if you're interested, sign up with no risk and we'll support you however we can. So mobile content management, that term sits at the heart of information technology. Content is the packaging of information and data in consumable ways that people can understand. And while humanity's technological capabilities continue to progress, we're starting to see the unintended consequences of the information revolution, much like the Industrial Revolution in the early 1900s led to new societies, wars, cultural movements. We're seeing the early yet drastic effects that the information revolution is having on our society, and it's affecting our employees' personal and work life. Let's try thinking about employees as being divided into 2 broad categories. First are those that sit at desks throughout their day. Oftentimes, these are our corporate teams. They're set up with Macs, multiple displays, expensive software solutions, and they have access to high amounts of bandwidth. But then you have your deskless workforce. And for many organizations, these are your frontline teams, and they do not sit at a desk all day. Instead, they are out in the field, in a store, under the wing of an aircraft, or meeting a client for coffee. These deskless teams make up 80% of the world's employees, and for many, iPhone and iPad have changed the nature of how they work. And while the automation of business processes has streamlined parts of their jobs, these employees are suffering some pain, and that pain traces back to their access to information. Let's unpack some recent research into these workforces. The average employee spends 37% of their time looking for information on how to do a task versus actually doing the task. That breaks down to an average of 2 hours per 8-hour shift for a frontline deskless worker and potentially even more for a desk worker. If we dig into why this is, we see 2 opposite causes leading to the same end. The first is a lack of access to corporate information. We'll call this info starvation. On average, 64% of the company information employees have access to is out of date or inaccurate. And while the average task a frontline employee must perform might take 3 minutes to execute, 80% of employees cannot get to the information they need to do that task the right way in less than 5 minutes. They're fighting connectivity. They're digging through a mound of information looking for the right thing. That's 5 minutes to figure out how to do a 3-minute task. With fear of job loss and management pressure to do a task the right way, these employees are starved of the information they need to get the job done and to feel confident. Now, if we jump to the other side of the spectrum, we see the opposite problem. Instead of info starvation, let's call this one infobesity. That is the notion that employees have access to too much information. They have to sort through so much information to find the right information that they experience cognitive overload, confusion, frustration. Some interesting data shows employees on average only need to use 7 to 10% of the apps provided to them per shift, opening an average of 2 apps before they get to the app they're looking for. This indicates that the employees ensure which app they need to go to for information or task execution. Most of these apps require separate logins, and that slows down the time it takes to get to information. For every 1 file or piece of information an employee needs, they open 3 files looking for that information. And 41% of the information employees have to sort through is not needed for their individual role. This paints a pretty startling picture of employees trying to do their best, to do the best job that they can, but not feeling supported as they're trying to do so. Faced with too many resources and uncertain about which app has the information or function they're trying to carry out, they start tapping around, opening apps to see if this one has the right information they need in that moment. Ultimately, they're trying to balance time, management pressure, and the increase in cognitive processing required to dig through that information. The cognitive stress that both information deprivation and information overload places on employees is leading to the same corporate and personnel consequences. And these are serious. 65% of the content created or curated by corporate or for frontline teams never gets touched. That's a lot of wasted time by corporate, and it's risky to your business operations. The average full-time frontline deskless employee spends 655 hours per year looking for corporate information on how to do a task. That's equivalent to 4 months per year of wasted productivity per employee, or 655,000 hours for every 1,000 employees, or $4.7 million spent per year in salary, assuming all 1,000 employees are paid the US federal minimum wage, $7.25 an hour. With a soft cost, or while a soft cost, that's a lot of money, and it's a lot of time wasted. Only 13% of corporate executive leaders believe that employees have the technology resources to make in-the-moment decisions that are in line with corporate expectations, policies, standards. And with all this, 33% of employees are experiencing significant levels of newly acquired mental health challenges, often in the form of anxiety. And psychologists are drawing a direct correlation to the mental fatigue caused by cognitive overload and fear of making the wrong decision at work. And 16% of employees are planning on quitting their job. And they identify this lack of information resources as one of their primary reasons. So, wasted expenses, degradation in brand standardization, operational excellence, and a decrease in employee health. These are the primary reasons why 55% of IT leaders have prioritized implementing a centralized single source of truth for the front line by the end of this year or early in 2022. So let's unpack what a single source of truth means. Today, we have information coming at frontline teams from multiple angles. Maybe your marketing team sends product and sales information to an online web CMS. Maybe your communications team is posting information to an intranet somewhere to be accessed through a browser. Your operations team might be printing procedures to be posted around the work environment, or they're emailing them to managers who don't do anything with it. Your HR team, they're likely posting benefits information in the HRIS, and your learning and development departments are publishing e-learning courses to the learning management system, all the while your CEO just wants to send out a 3-minute inspirational video to the whole company every couple of weeks, but doesn't know how. Meanwhile, your frontline team just wants to confirm how to set a meter on the equipment they're working on, and they're having to take 5 minutes to sort through all those communications channels to figure that out. So what does your frontline do in response? Well, today, roughly 39% of all companies are allowing bring your own device, BYOD, but 76% of frontline employees are using their personal phone, their personal device, to download the corporate content they need and saving it into personal file systems like iCloud and Dropbox. Now, your information is in technology that you don't control. 60% of IT leaders believe that centralizing frontline communication into a centralized, secure, and remotely managed single source of truth is the resolution to this problem. And while self-explanatory, a single source of truth is just a data storage principle that all communication and information should be sourced by an employee from one place or app. It's about managing the disparate information, traditionally spread across varying systems, into one website and one app. For frontline workers, it has to enable instant access to the right information at the right time so that the employee can clearly understand their performance expectations. I want to give you 5 things to consider as you begin scoping your frontline single source of truth solution. So start by separating your intended audience. The corporate desk-based workforce has very different needs from your frontline deskless workforce. Desk corporate teams operate in sandboxes, meaning they often start projects in systems like PowerPoint, Adobe, Creative Suite Box, etc. And they need access to information to help them. Due to the nature of their work environment, which is most likely using a Mac with at least one additional display and using traditional cloud content systems, that works well. You can pull up multiple windows side by side, copy and paste from one to the other, and all of that is in a controlled, monitored, high bandwidth environment. Maybe not so much on site anymore, but Jamf gives you incredible ways to ensure a secure sandbox remotely. The frontline business workforce has an entirely different set of needs, though. The nature of their environment is much more physically demanding. They're unpacking boxes, they're folding clothes, cooking food, they're troubleshooting, they're performing preventative maintenance check on equipment, they're engaged with a customer in some fashion. These teams need to quickly get to information and get back to the task at hand as quickly as possible. They need to be met with information at the right time and place within their process workflow, whatever that might be. Second, prioritize mobile. More and more, your frontline teams are depending on iPhone and iPad in ways that we couldn't have imagined 10 years ago. The physical workflow is getting supplemented with digital workflows more than ever, and mobile devices have emerged as the ideal factor for these environments. Third, don't sacrifice security for speed. Studies show a 117% increase in the use of corporate standardized content if the resource is available in less than 5 seconds. And the data across our customers shows the average time spent consuming content is around 12 seconds. It's that quick access to bite-sized information right when they need it that their most corporate files, that ensures employees use what they have. This is the reason frontline employees are putting corporate files in their personal file systems and locally on their hard drives. They don't have to think about connection then, and they know how and where to get it when they need it. But that causes a host of other problems like version control, lack of technical and HR compliance, and not to mention the massive security risks, especially when that employee quits in 4 months and goes to work for your competitor. Your single source of truth should be able to leverage the mobile device as an edge media server that stays within your control and under your security standards. That data should also be encrypted at all times, including on the cloud server side while in transit and while at rest on the device hard drive. When the employee is no longer with the company or the device walks away, you need to be able to remotely wipe the content from that device, even if it never connects back to the internet again. Fourth, zero dependence on end users to manually check for content updates. Frontline employees are busy. When they don't often think about or they're unsure what resources they need ahead of time. When your various corporate teams publish an update to information, that update should automatically sync to the device hard drive in the background, even if the device is asleep. That way, when employees head to the floor or out to a field site, they always have the most up-to-date resources instantly available at their fingertips. And fifth, consider the digital workflow. Employees may use a number of different apps throughout their shift. These apps need to point to and leverage the content assets in the managed content repository versus maintaining their own versions of information. Apple's universal linking SDKs make it very easy for your vendors or in-house development teams to build these into your business process apps and enable a seamless experience back and forth with your on-device content repository. Imagine an employee walking through a task in one app, tapping a link which launches the corresponding video in your single source of truth app, hitting done, and moving back to the other app to finish their task. That's an integrated mobile ecosystem, and it's key to lessening employee app fatigue. Another significant step toward providing a faster integrated mobile experience is Jamf's new single sign-on or single login capability. Removing the need for employees to log in every time they open an app or move from one app to another is critical to reducing time to resources, driving employee adoption of your technical investments, and ensuring a secure digital environment for your employees' mobile workforces. Now, let's discuss some key things to consider as you design your single source of truth implementation strategy. First, let's touch on build versus buy. 92% of organizations are focused on learning how to build digital operations resources in-house. And this is becoming one of those most common questions when considering new software solutions. And if building in-house is a preference for you, here's the engineering team you'll want to recruit. Developers with experience in cloud-native architecture, building native mobile apps, big data engineers, an expert in media compression algorithms, an expert in structured learning packages and video metadata collection, and obviously teams that can cover the basics of encryption, GDPR compliance, device vulnerabilities and capabilities, which is especially important if you intend to enable cross-platform BYOD. We have helped our larger customers in their investment business case. Their outcome estimates range from a 2.3 to a 3.1 million estimate to build the MVP version of that product, 12 to 18 months to market, and a 7.5-year return on investment after reiteration and ongoing maintenance. And that typically did not include future-looking integration requirements. Next, you'll want to consider who within the organization owns the platform. This is a difficult question for organizations because your single source of truth carries significant implications for the security of proprietary information, storage, footprints on your endpoints, and utilization of your networks. So this should be the type of solution that falls into your infrastructure strategy. Obviously, IT leaders prefer to be the ones to select the platform. The risk IT leaders are feeling with this is they do not want the ongoing responsibility of actually publishing and managing the content within the system. Imagine every time a department needs to update a file, they have to come to you. You will want to build or identify a platform that enables IT to select, configure your security network and device policies, but then enable the administrators across your business departments to manage their own communication to frontline teams. And the security today, enablement for the future, frontline communication and workflow enablement takes on a unique content form. It takes on unique content formats that are different from what corporate teams need. Your organization's information is no longer found in just a static PDF or MP4. At the least, you'll likely have some sort of digital forms or e-learning or other formats of interactive communication. The pandemic has expedited the shift in how enterprise communication works. And in order to effectively enable a single source of truth for the future, your frontline content platform will need to enable what Gartner calls composable business content. Your single source of truth of the future is going to require the ability to support intelligent content experiences that adjust and adapt information in the moment for the user-specific context. This requires location independence through cloud, plus mobile edge processing, and demands the highest levels of security around these proprietary resources. In short, your organization will need to be able to build intelligent, personalized content experiences that meet frontline employees in both their physical and digital workflow. Centralizing this flow and application of proprietary data throughout your organization within a single source of truth, mobile content management platforms is not only the solution for the current day business challenges, but it's the foundation of building your enterprise information platform of the future. I'm going to end with this story. As a coffee addict, I love my daily dose of Starbucks, and I admire the brand. And that's why I was saddened when their brand fell victim to a culture crisis back in April of 2018. 2 African-American men were arrested after a store manager called the police on them as they waited for a business meeting to begin, and they hadn't yet ordered anything. While the actions of that manager were not appropriate, certainly didn't reflect Starbucks' brand, the organization's response could not have provided a better example of what organizations can do and how they can respond to a crisis. Starbucks absorbed the challenge unlike any I've ever seen throughout my career, and it called attention to the underlying, often unconscious bias so many people carried. The entire 275,000 Starbucks partners were called to arms to address the problem. Analysts estimate the cost to the company was in the tens of millions of dollars or more because they adopted a company-wide shutdown of their stores for unconscious bias training. And at that moment, one of the world's largest corporations had to shine light on a technology gap that they had in their ability to disseminate information to their entire frontline team. A traditional post to the internal intranet or a course in the LMS was not technically feasible at that scale, nor was it effective in meeting the true needs of disseminating that kind of communication to the frontline teams. I'm proud of our team at Playerlink, who, alongside Tim Cook and the team at Apple and many other partners and team members, were able to deploy Playerlink to 23,000 iPads in a project that would normally take months to pull off, but they were able to do so within a 2 to 3 week period. And the team did it with 100% success rate in terms of content successfully delivered and available to the front line. Many of you have just experienced similar chaos over the last 18 months as your employees became distributed overnight. Whether your organization has 5 employees or 500,000, the entire business looked to you to ensure operations stayed up and running. You had to curate and deploy devices at a rate that was unheard of before. The sleepless nights you experienced trying to identify solutions and deploy immediately, the pressure, your organization's survival resting on your shoulders. You have just gone through the largest and fastest human behavioral change in history, and that change is not slowing down. In fact, it's compounding. So while Starbucks' Frontline mobile transformation was nearly overnight, Playerlink's mobile content management platform and iPad have become an important component of their corporate team's ability to rapidly communicate with and update their frontline store teams, something that has become more critical for them over the last 18 months. So in a world where information, local regulations, operational procedures, corporate expectations, and standards seem to be changing every single day, employees need more than ever a centralized place where they can go to and escape the flood of misinformation that they're experiencing in their lives, cut through the noise, and be able to immediately know exactly what they're supposed to do, removing work from being their highest mental burden and a subsequent cause of anxiety in their lives. And as your executive teams look to you in IT as the only ones who can help solve this information crisis, Playerlink is here to support you. Take advantage of this unique offer, and we'll get you access to our mobile content management platform at no cost, zero risk. Deploy it across your mobile devices, all your employees. There's no time limit. We give you up to 2 gigs of managed content, which is a lot with our video compression. With everything you've gone through over the last 18 months and so much more you have to focus on in the days to come, this is us wanting to give back by making it incredibly easy for you to set up your single source of truth. And our team is ready to come side by side with you to enable you to configure your security, network, and access settings. And then we'll take on the work of teaching your business teams how to publish, manage, and secure their line of communication to frontline teams and provide your frontline teams with your organization's single source of truth. I'm Paul Bradley with Playerlink. I thank you for your time.